Welcome back to this episode of Guiding from the Garage. I'm standing a few feet outside of the garage because it's okay to do that this week. I've also got on all of my gear. I've got on my pack, my split shot, my strike indicators, my fly rod. Today's episode we're going to focus on really good placement and a technique to use your fly rod to clamp on your split shot. People struggle with this process. I see them try to put split shot in their teeth and clamp it on. I see people have to lay their rods down and try to get their split shot onto their tippet. Same thing happens with strike indicators. I just see people over the years struggle with their dexterity about a really good technique for putting their strike indicator on. More of a problem trying to figure out a really convenient, easy way to get split shot onto a piece of tippet. We're also going to show you today 2 places to put split shot which will really help you in the nymph fishing game. Today's episode, as always, is brought to you by Original Coors Beer, the banquet beer of fly fishermen and outdoor outfitters. Well, heck, longer than I've been alive. Also brought to you by Trout and Travel. We plan, you fish. Follow us on Instagram at trout_and_travel. Hosted destination trip services all over the country and a few international destinations where we provide the hosting service when you're ready to travel with us, and we make sure that your trip is exactly what you expected. Local guided fly fishing trip services in the southern Appalachians as well all year round. So come on into the garage, let us show you how to rig some split shot and some indicators. Rigging split shot indicators for your fly rod. A couple of different pieces of split shot. As guides, we like a big one and we like a smaller one. These happen to be ABs and BBs. Strike indicators, they come a dime a dozen. We specifically like small and larger white colored thingamabobbers for demonstration purposes. And of course, forceps. Make sure you have these things with you when you practice. We're standing in the river. We have on our pack, our tools are hanging around our neck, our nippers, forceps. You're going to use your forceps when you clamp split shot. Stop using your teeth and stop trying to use your fingers. I'm going to show you how to use your forceps. It's going to be very efficient. You've got your rod under your arm, so you've got the dexterity of your hands and your fingers like I've been talking about all these episodes. This is going to be the first episode where I actually show you how to use your forceps with the rod under your arm. We're going to show you how to clamp on the split shot. In this scenario, I've got this tandem rig tied up where these flies for nymph fishing are, I don't know, foot and a half apart. This lead fly is an attractor egg. Here's the 2 flies tied together, 6X tippet. I want that split shot to be about 6 or 7 inches above that lead fly. Some people like to connect split shot between the flies, and that's fine too. But the technique that I want to show you about clamping on split shot is to use this lead fly, or the first fly in this tandem rig. Let me show you what I'm doing. I take this lead fly and I hook it to the guide, the first one, the stripping guide, as I've got this under my arm, as I've got the fly rod under my arm. So it's just hanging out there. I'm going to reach into my pack. I'm going to pull out a piece of split shot. Now here's the trick and here's the tip. Load the split shot in your forceps. Like so. Pull the piece of tippet to you that's connected to that lead fly, pull it towards you and pull it tight. Bring the split shot to the tippet. Put the tippet in the split shot. I want to show you that again. Load your split shot in your forceps. Pull that tippet tight because that fly is hanging out on that guide, and bring the split shot to the tippet. Lock it in there, pinch it down. Now that split shot is ready to go for your nymph rig. This second technique that I want to show you for creating a split shot dropper is going to be helpful, because instead of putting the split shot here above that first fly, like I just showed you how to use your rod to clamp that on, we're actually going to take another piece of tippet and we're going to tie it to the back of our second fly, or dropper fly. It's going to be about 6 or 7 inches long, and our tippet's going to go on it. The purpose of it is when something gets stuck on the bottom, 8 times out of 10, it's your split shot. And so when you pull it tight to untangle it, the split shot just comes sliding off the back. You lose your split shot, but you keep your rig. Let me show you how that works. We're going to take a piece of tippet, I don't know, maybe a foot, and just like in our tandem rigging clinic, we're going to take this second fly here and we're going to tie an approved clinch knot to the back of it, right off the back of the hook. We're just going to good tight knot for this tag of tippet. Remember, when you're tying the improved clinch, throw the hoop over the post. Pull it down tight. Cut that tag. So there is a tag of tippet off of the back of the second fly in a tandem rig for nymph fishing. We're going to cut it to where it's about 6 or 7 inches long. Come here, grab that first fly in that tandem rig, put it up here on the second guide, kind of get it away from you with this rod tucked under your arm. Load up a piece of split shot in your forceps like we showed you on the first half of the clinic. Get your forceps ready, load your split shot in it. It's ready to get tight. Pull that tag of tippet towards you off the back of that second fly. Clamp it tight. And that's how you want it to fish. That's a piece of split shot off of a tag of tippet off of the back of that second fly in tandem. The concept is this: when you're nymph fishing and something gets stuck or hung up on the bottom, 8 times out of 10, it's your split shot. When you go to pull tight, this split shot's going to pull right off the back of the tippet. Your rig comes out of the water, you have everything intact, just add another piece of split shot. We like white strike indicators. The reason for that is if you look closely on mountain trout rivers, you don't see a lot of color on the surface. Contrary to popular belief, trout don't spook away from indicators. They're actually attracted to indicators. Anything that is different than what they see in their world, they tend to stare at. So you could be fishing over a very hungry fish and you're wondering why they're not eating your flies. Most times it's because every time your strike indicator comes flying overhead, they're staring at it 20 to 30 times and your flies go right by. Try to commit to some kind of white color on the surface of a trout river. Just a good helpful guide tip there. Let me show you how to rig a thingamabobber. Take your tippet, make a small loop. The thingamabobber has 2 sides to a gasket, a big side and a small side. Take that loop, pinch it tight, pass it through the big side, and pass it through big enough as a loop so your indicator comes up through the bottom, through it, and then you pull it tight, and this is called a girth hitch. This bites in on itself right at the gasket. Pull it tight, and that's ready to go. When you're ready to move a thingamabobber, just reverse that process. Take your tippet, push it outwardly, take that loop, pass it back over the thingamabobber, pull it out, and now you're ready to place the thingamabobber somewhere else. Let me show you how to use an airlock indicator. Unscrew this piece of hardware that it comes with, and you'll see a slot on the top of that airlock. I like to take the tippet and I'll pinch it between my fingers and I'll actually slide it down over that slot. Just like I showed you how to pinch split shot together, I'll make a big loop between my fingers here, and I'll hold the airlock still in my right hand, and I will pass that tippet down and pinch it on both sides so the tippet doesn't come out of that slot right there. Then I'll slowly take this screw-on piece of hardware of the airlock, and I'll screw that back on. Some airlocks are more finicky than others, but the concept here is you screw that on tight, it stays in place. Loosen it up a little bit, and the tippet moves through it to the approximate length you want it from that fly. And remember that you want a strike indicator to be 1 foot farther away from that lead fly when you're nymph fishing than the depth of water. White indicators. Don't flinch, just commit to the color. The question that we always get as fly fishing guides when we're getting ready to set up and teach people to nymph fish under the water under an indicator is, where do you put the indicator? The answer to that question is very simple and very effective, and the answer is this indicator is a foot or a little bit longer in depth farther away from this lead fly in your tandem nymph rig than the depth of the water. So if you're fishing in 3 feet of water, you want this indicator to be 4 feet away from this lead fly. Split shot's going to go right above this lead fly, or it's going to be off of this tandem rig. It's going to be off of this little piece of tippet that we tied off of the back of the second fly. But the answer to the where do we place our indicator question is in total length. This indicator to this first fly, the distance is going to be a foot longer or a foot greater than the depth of the water that you're fishing in. So don't put your indicator on your leader or on your tippet and just fish it there all day long. Learn to move and manipulate your indicator, and learn to move and manipulate your split shot. Add more split shot, take split shot away, move the depth of your indicator farther away from your flies or closer to your flies based on the current depth and the direction that that water is flowing. Don't change your flies. Most times you have the right flies. Learn to manipulate your strike indicator. Learn to manage your split shot. You'll catch more trout. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. That was really fun to do. Rigging split shot and indicators in the nymph fishing world is something that you should really get right. You should practice over and over and over again. Proper placement of your split shot and your indicator is very important. That indicator, remember, needs to stay a good foot farther away than the depth of the water that you're fishing, away from that first fly. So if you're fishing in 2 feet of water, make sure you place that indicator 3 feet away from that first fly. You saw the first 2 places of split shot that we were showing you. You can place your split shot above your first fly, a couple inches here, and I showed you how to rig that using your rod. Or you can tie a tag off of your second fly off the back of the hook, just like you're rigging a tandem fly a couple of episodes ago. Put that split shot on the very end of that tag. So if you get stuck on the bottom and you pull up forward, it's not going to take your flies with you. It's just going to have your split shot slide off the tag. Guide tip of this episode: wallet, cell phone, and keys. What does that mean? That means when somebody is getting in the truck, or you have a hey Maybelle, everybody say hello to one of my labs, Maybelle. She's also kind of outside of the garage having some fun in the yard today. The guide tip of today is wallet, cell phone, and keys. When you're fishing with a group or you're fishing by yourself, you need to make sure that you plant that thought in your head. Does everyone have their wallet? Does everyone have their cell phone? Does everyone know where their keys is? That's a really good guide tip. Always fish with a fly fishing guide once this year. And as always, when you're practicing these techniques, make sure you're standing up You put that rod under your arm and you work on the dexterity of your hands and your arms standing up as if you're in the river. We'll see you on the next episode. I hope that was helpful. Have a great day.